Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something pretty fascinating, the economic paths of the Soviet Union and China, specifically through their famous five-year plans.
Yeah, it's striking, isn't it? Both started with similar ideas, ideologically speaking, but ended up in vastly different places economically.
Exactly. So our mission for you today is really to unpack why. Why did China seem to find a successful path where the Soviets, well, stumbled?
It tells you a lot about economic strategy and maybe even more about just being adaptable.
Okay, let's get into it, starting with the Soviets. Their model was really the peak of central planning, a command economy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You had the state, through Gosplan, that's the Central Planning Committee, basically deciding everything. Production, distribution, the works. Figures like Stalin really cemented this top-down approach.
But that kind of rigid control, it sounds like it had some major flaws baked in.
Oh, definitely. A huge one was incentives, or the lack of them. The whole system pushed for production quotas, just hitting raw numbers.
Quantity over quality, basically.
Yeah, precisely. There was almost no reward for making things better, or innovating, or even checking if people actually needed the stuff being produced.
Right. Make a million shoes, but maybe they don't fit or fall apart.
That kind of thing. And then there's the information problem. How can one central body possibly know enough to manage a whole complex economy efficiently?
It seems impossible. What did that actually lead to on the ground for, regular people?
Well, it led to massive misallocations. Resources ending up in the wrong places, supply chains getting completely snarled, and a huge disconnect from what people actually needed day to day.
So shortages.
Chronic shortages of consumer goods, yeah.
Hmm.
The plans focused overwhelmingly on heavy industry, military spending. Agriculture often suffered terribly too.
And that led to things like the Holodomor in Ukraine, right? The famines.
Tragically, yes. That intense focus away from basic needs contributed to devastating famines and just a constant culture of scarcity. Always queuing, always making do.
A really stark picture. Okay, so let's pivot. China. Their five-year plans took a different route, especially after Deng Xiaoping's reforms in '78.
Yeah, very different story. The plans changed from being these rigid commands to more like strategic roadmaps, setting broad goals, but crucially, allowing market forces to gradually play a role.
How did that start? Where was the initial break from the old model?
It really kicked off with agriculture. They brought in something called the household responsibility system. Basically, they dismantled the old collective farms.
Letting families farm their own plots.
Exactly. Families managed the land, and crucially, they could sell any surplus they produced on the open market.
Ah, so direct incentive. Work harder, produce more, your family benefits directly.
Precisely. And it worked. Food production shot up, rural incomes increased. It was a huge first step.
But they didn't just flip a switch overnight for the whole economy, did they? How did they manage that transition without causing, chaos?
Very cautiously, they used experiments. They set up special economic zones, SEZs, think of them as laboratories.
Testing grounds for market ideas.
Right. Places to try out market policies, attract foreign investment, see what worked before applying it nationwide. It was gradual, step-by-step liberalization. It prevented that kind of system shock.
So they were bringing back incentives, competition, things the Soviet system lacked.
Fundamentally, yes. Allowing a private sector to emerge, letting businesses compete, giving people a real stake in success that unleashed innovation, efficiency, and made the economy much more responsive to what people actually wanted to buy.
It's such a clear contrast when you lay it out like that. The outcomes couldn't be more different.
Absolutely. It really shows that success, even in a state-guided system, isn't just about sticking rigidly to an ideology. It's about being flexible.
Adaptable.
Adaptable, exactly. The Soviet Union's rigidity was its downfall. China, by sort of carefully mixing planning with market dynamics, found a way to guide development much more effectively.
So there you have it. That's our deep dive for today. The core lesson seems clear. Flexibility and adapting seem crucial, even when the state is involved in planning.
Definitely. So maybe something for you to think about. How does understanding this balance, this tension between central goals and market dynamism, influence how we think about national development today? Or even perhaps how you approach setting your own long-term goals?